You are tuned into Let Me Relax. What's up, you guys? We're back today. I'm giving very much back-to-back vibes. We back with another episode. Let me relax. But at any rate, I did want to discuss in a more formal manner the situation with DaBaby. And now that more stuff has come out, more things have happened, I kind of want to give my take on the situation more formally. I did discuss it on our podcast, Sad Shit, our actual most recent episode, and it's titled "Freedom of Speech is Not Freedom of Consequence." And I think that's an important tidbit to take away from this situation. You can fly off the handle and say whatever you want, but there are repercussions for your actions. This is no different than if somebody who, a racist white person working at a store, and they post something on their Facebook or their social media, and then they get fired from their job. It's no different, and not necessarily comparing race, even though I do feel that, gay people have had their own struggles. I'm not making that comparison, so I don't want to come off like I'm saying, the levels of oppression of being gay and black are equal, because unless you're black and gay, you don't even touch the same levels of oppression as black people. But with that being said, it's no different. You still have responsibility for the things that you say. There are still repercussions for your actions. Freedom of speech just keeps you from getting locked up. That's literally all that law did. That's that freedom, that right, whatever you want to call it. That's all it does. It keeps you from getting locked up. It doesn't keep people from having their opinions, think pieces, this, that, and the third about what you said. So, I did want to, just get that out the way. And as far as the "it's not that deep" crowd, I don't know where we went in as society, as we can't have discussions about things that are a week or 2 weeks old. I think a lot of times we talk about the microwave society that we live in, and a lot of us foster to it and cater to it. If people want to take a week from this foolishness and then evaluate and write them a think piece for their magazine or whatever the situation is, that's their business. People can speak on things when they want to. This is no different from if somebody was abused sexually or just, physically from somebody. There's no time limit on when they can speak up. That's their decision if they choose to speak on it. Everybody's not an attention whore and feels the need to just jump on stuff when it first happens. So that is, I don't know where that idea came from, but if we want to talk about this shit 3 months down the line from now, we can. You know what I'm saying? You might be looking a little crazy doing that, but you can. That's your right. Whoever is the person with the platform at that time, and if you feel like they're dragging it, then just don't listen. It's that simple. I've never understood the mindset of coming under a post that you clearly is geared towards a certain audience. You're not the audience and you still feel the need to comment or do something. It's one thing if it's like the Shade Room and they're posting, even though I hate that they do this, but they post the outfits of who wore it better. That's one thing. And if you just happen to not feel so strongly about the other person who's wearing the outfit, like something like that, I can excuse. But if it's something where it's discussing DaBaby and what he said, then you already know what the comments finna be looking like. You already know the energy of the post. What is the point? Why are you giving your energy to that? Now, again, freedom of speech. You can. That's on you. But you saying, oh, y'all are dragging it. They not finna take that post down. They finna get their views and get their clicks. So at any rate, and another thing when it comes to the "it's not that deep" crowd, it's not that deep for you. For you, it is not that deep. If you are not directly affected, of course you would feel that way. I being a man who presents a certain energy to people, and the way my voice sounds and certain things of that aspects, I sympathize a lot with, or empathize a lot with, the LGBTQ plus community, especially the black members of them that are male. You know what I'm saying? So I empathize with them a lot because we've been treated similarly throughout our life patterns, and that's not to say they're all a monolith. Some of them probably sound voice deeper than me, present a certain type of energy different from me, but your average gay person, you know what I'm saying? So I empathize with them a lot. because we've been through similar things. So I've seen some of what they go through, even though I'm not a part of that community. So for me, and even though I'm such a empath, like I don't, or not empath, but empathetic person, that I don't need to see you struggle in order to say, oh, it's real. Like, I think that's as ignorant as white people who just refuse to acknowledge racism or white privilege. Like, they shouldn't have to see it. And it's so funny how black people, we're trying to preach, hey, see us, white people, see us. But when you turn to the same people who look like you, who just happen to like the same sex that they are, all of a sudden, all that empathy that you were asking for, you can't deliver. And let me get this very clear. A lot of you people, black people in this community, you don't accept homosexuals. You tolerate them. There's a big difference. Because I could easily turn around and ask you, okay, so how would you feel if you had a son that acts like that, or that looks like that, or that dresses like that? And all of a sudden now you quiet. It's crickets. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the easiest way to tell if somebody really is, you know what I'm saying? If they're just pandering for the moment, a lot of these black men, oh, I love black women, melanin. Let that kid pop out dark skin. We're going to really see how they feel. So with that being said, if it's not that deep for you, that's fine. But other people are having a conversation. So tune out of this conversation and you can go have a conversation about DaBaby's #1 Billboard songs or whatever interests you. It's not that deep for you, and that's okay. But don't gaslight and diminish other people's issues, because this is not a situation where we just attacked him. He was sitting on stage. All that nigga had to say was, wave your hands in the air, wave them like you just don't care. Fellas, raise your hand if you got more than $10 in your pocket. Like, he could have kept it very simple and plain. Like, 90s rap people paved the way and gave y'all what to say on the stage in that moment when you're in between sets and songs. All he had to say was something like that. He chose to say this. He chose to throw himself on that landmine. Then after bringing up HIV, if he had just said the comment about sexually transmitted diseases, he might have been okay, even though it's very ironic for him, a man of 3 children with no ring to show for it. And I bet you he has not gotten, the only way I think he's gotten STD tested is if he participated in sports when he was younger, because I know you have to get a physical. But besides that, who knows the last time he's been checked, if he has. But he's sitting here talking about raw sex, trying to be on some moral high ground. And we'll get into that a little later. But nonetheless, he might have been okay if he had just came for HIV and AIDS. But then he decided to double down with some homophobia. He decided to just slap some homophobic mustard on that shitty sandwich that he decided to present that crowd. And it was just awkward. The energy was awkward. Everything was off. This isn't like it was an interview where he just got caught up in his words and he said the wrong thing. This was completely unprovoked. Like, I haven't even heard a story where, like, the person who threw the shoe, let's say if they threw the shoe first and it was a dude wearing a skirt. Like, I haven't even heard a story like that. So I just don't know why his head was where it was at. Like, I'm a rapper. I do music. If I was on Rolling Loud, that would be the furthest thing from what I was feeling in that moment. Like, you're surrounded by all this good energy. People are supporting you. The crowd is loving you. And that is what you decided to spew out. So, yeah, just the way y'all are trying to infantilize this man and how y'all infantilize black men in general is aggravating as shit. This man is not 18. He is 30. He is 30 with 3 kids. He is 30 with 3 children. An alleged third one on the way. We're assuming that Danny Lay's baby is from him. But with that being said, this is not like NBA YoungBoy. This isn't any NLE Chopper. He's 30. You're old enough to at the very least know that, even if he was outdated, because the shit he was talking about with HIV and AIDS, that shit, like, that's some 90s type shit. Like, the type of ignorance that he was spewing. But you're old enough to know that you come for the rainbow community. And they coming for your coins. They don't even have to necessarily do it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they get a lot of flack because people feel like they bully them. They're bullies. And I can say that there are times where the LGBT community, they don't always get it right. But these corporations are not willing to break the support of them. So a lot of the times it's kind of like essentially when Carrie Hilson got into it with Beyonce and did the Turn Me Down remix. There were people who wouldn't work with Carrie Hilson simply off the strength that they may one day be able to work with Beyonce. And that wouldn't be a good look for them if Beyonce tried to approach them for a track, and then, you know, just because the likelihood that they might get to work with Beyonce, they said, and I'm good on Carrie Hilson. So the words that you say have power. You know what I'm saying? And that power can be used to build or destroy. And on that particular night, those words that he said and uttered, they weren't meant to build anything. So, you know, and now he's reaping the consequences for that. And I think just this lack of empathy, it really speaks to how, like, I watch a lot of anime, and I think, like, humanity will be the downfall of humanity. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't know what people got going on. Those people risk their money in a pandemic. You know what I'm saying? Some of them people's probably next to broke just to come see him. And you never know, the person who was just spent the last money of their fraud PPP, their fraud PPP loan, just spent the last of their fraud PPP loan to go see DaBaby, and their grandma could have just died of HIV. Like, you don't know what people have going on. So for him to say that ignorant ass shit, and for y'all to sit here and infantilize him, it drives me crazy. It don't move. This was unprovoked. He brought this on himself. So with that being said, also to speak real quick to the it's not that deep crowd, it actually is. If you get educated up on the situation, everybody wants to cry, educate me. So let's talk about it. HIV and African American people. African American people account for the higher proportion of the new HIV diagnosis and people with HIV compared to other races and ethnicities. In 2018, Black/African American people accounted for 13% of the U.S. population. Now, let's always keep in mind when they're saying that shit, they probably are roping in biracial people. But still, 10 to 13%, let's say that. But 42% of the nearly 40,000 new HIV diagnoses in the United States independent areas. And that's 2018. I'm sure a lot of us have been having plenty of raw sex since then. So with that being said, just to go through the list, from 2014 to 2018, HIV diagnosis decreased 7% among Black people overall. Good progress has been made with reducing HIV diagnosis among most age groups. Although one age group, Black people aged 25 to 34, DaBaby is what, 30? 29, boom. Ew, why is his birthday December 22nd? My birthday is December 20th. I don't, well, no, I think he's in that Capricorn. I think he's a Capricorn by then. At any rate, he does not strike me as a Sagittarius at all. If he is, I think, when is the cutoff date? Sorry, y'all. I'm gonna be a little astrologically extra right now. Yes, I just made that word up. But give me one second. Okay, I'm back. I had to make sure I was not sharing the sign with Jonathan Lindell Kirk. All right. So at any rate, going back to the stats. Sorry, I had to be a little extra, y'all. All right. Ages 25 to 34, like I said, saw a 7% increase. And this is like, y'all, this is the CDC, by the way, before y'all, just, oh, well, we need the link. It's the CDC. So the same person y'all been listening to for the last year and a half. Well, some of y'all. Oh my God, 13 to 24. Like, those are babies. It says right here, 6 in 7 African American people knew they had the virus. By the end of 2018, an estimated 1.2 million people had HIV. Of those, 482,900 were among Black American people. So, and a lot of us have the disease and we don't know. We're just walking around unknowingly infecting people because of the stigma around it, which he and his antics on stage did not help. You know what I'm saying? And then there's also the racism and discrimination, the homophobia that you have to deal with. So, and it's also just a part of our, you know, situations with poverty. You know what I'm saying? Just the information's not there to get tested. You know what I'm saying? So it's a bunch of factors that play into why we are so plagued with this. But it is definitely our business, and it is definitely that deep. If your goal is unity within the black community, you can't skip over certain social groups because you disagree with their quote unquote lifestyle. Which, another thing, it's not a lifestyle. That's just their fucking life. A lifestyle is being vegan. A lifestyle is taking on a diet. Like, that's a lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? So even the verbiage that I think we use sometimes with certain social groups, we need to work on, especially if we're asking for that same respect and decency from non-black people or whatever the thing, whatever the situation is. So with that being said, another point that I wanted to tackle is the blackmail hypocrisy. I find it so funny. You know, I don't agree with everything Lil Nas X does. And you know, he had a history of trolling people before he got famous. And he said some very trifling things about a lot of people in the industry on like burner accounts and stuff like that, which is not to say that he's the main reason, but he is one of the reasons why I do feel like burner accounts and shit, that shit should not be real. If you're gonna say what the fuck you should, I feel like it should be just like we're in public. If you're gonna say it loud and proud. We want to see your face, we want to see your picture. I mean, we don't have to see your address, you know, unless you're just talking real brazy. But, you know, we should be able to see our face and the name. I will never give a fuck about the opinion of random name and 6 numbers on Twitter. I do not care, me personally. But I do feel like, hey, if you got all those cojones, you should be able to have it with a profile picture of you and your name. But that's just me. But nonetheless, I do feel like a lot of black men, you know, have taken aim at Lil Nas X, and they can use whatever type of morality. It's so funny how all of a sudden morality matters in hip hop. I think that is the funniest part of Lil Nas X coming up in the game, is now we're worried about what the children see and what the children think. And, you know, they also do this with black women, you know, when Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion drop WAP. And yes, I said black women and Cardi B, referred to my video Cardi B, Candace Owens, for why I said she's black. So with that being said, which by the way, for Cardi B to have as much privilege as she does have, did anybody else find it kind of odd how, and I never talked about this, but Cardi B received all of the flack, or a majority of the flack for WAP, which is very strange to me, because if anything, I thought they would have pulled it on Megan. Because as much as Megan, and I love me some Megan, but Megan likes to refer to herself as a red bone and a yellow bone. Megan is brown skinned. So the fact that she kind of just skated on the hypocrisy, or not the hypocrisy, but the critiques of WAP, like they really went at Cardi, but I don't know. I think Republicans just love to do that shit anyways. But it was just it was interesting to see how the media really didn't come for Megan Thee Stallion as much as they did Cardi with the whole WAP thing. I thought if anything, the more noticeably black woman would have been the one, you know, that was came for it. But at any rate, just my interesting tidbit on it. But at any rate, back to what I was saying, with women and with gay black men, only then do we talk about morals. DaBaby is the same person who got head in a music video, who was surfing down a woman's tongue, and it was supposed to be a ski mountain full of semen, if I'm not mistaken. So where now, and not to mention the millions of rappers rapping about killing other black men rapping about killing other black men, drugs, raw sex, all this other low vibrational shit, but y'all draw the line at Lil Nas X giving Satan a lap dance. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're religious, I'm not trying to offend you. I can see how that would make you feel some kind of way. That was his art. That was his interpretation. That was whatever message he was trying to convey. He conveyed it, and that's how he felt. You're free to feel how you want to feel. But that aside, he was getting smoked before that, to be honest, you know, and before this Industry Baby video, he had been getting smoked. Those are his responses to the backlash that he's received since he's came out, you know. So with that being said, like I said, I don't agree with everything Lil Nas X, but I will say it's very funny how this selective outrage works and how all of a sudden now we need to clean it up for the kids. And I think I would appreciate it more if black men just say what you want to say. You don't want to see two men kissing. That's it. I respect that so much more. You don't want to see two men kissing. You don't care if it's two girls, even though that's still gay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You just don't want to see two men kissing. That's it. It's like it's quiet but cat. We know this. It's the same thing with, you know, men love to ask women for threesomes, but she says, okay, which nigga we picking? When Saweetie did that shit on the damn disrespectfully Justin, whatever the damn show is, that shit took me out. But for real, if she turned around and did that, you'll be ready to punch her in her face. So, you know, we all know, we know. Just say what it is. It kills me when people try to hide behind, but the kids, but the children. I hate that shit. It annoys me. It grinds my gears because you're insulting our intelligence. You don't even care about the kids when you was rapping about killing other black men. You didn't care about the kids when you was rapping about having unprotected sex, which can lead to more kids, more broken homes within the black community. You didn't care about any of that shit. You just don't want to see Lil Nas gay ass winning. That's it. Just say that. I respect that so much more. So, yeah, there's that. And finally, in the ending, you know, I always give solutions to the best of my abilities. Jonathan, let's hire a PR team. That would be good. And let's be a little better at hiding our homophobia and, you know, distaste for certain social groups. Because let's be honest, I don't think he's going to change. And hip-hop fosters the environment for shit like this. So he doesn't have to change. But maybe let's get better at hiding it. Because although I'm sure DaBaby will be okay. Yeah, he's quote-unquote canceled by now. But as soon as he pops out a new track, he'll be right back in syndication. So, you know, that's fine. And it is what it is. But we're not going to act like this was just a fly on the wall, which is very funny. You know, he tried to say he didn't even know he was booked for, I believe it was Lollapalooza. I was listening to a podcast earlier. When you combine the money that he lost, it is at least $1 million. He at least lost $1 million in 1 week, at the very least. Because he is one of the top contenders when it comes to today's, you know, artists. You know what I'm saying? He at least lost $1 million. So, 1 million in 7 days lost. That's an L. I don't care how you spend it. I don't care I don't care if he's sitting on damn near $1 billion. That's still $1 million lost in 1 week. So with that being said, he'll be okay. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, maybe just next time, keep that conversation for you and your DJ. You know, talk about the niggas sucking dick in the parking lot with your DJ. Don't bring that to the stage. I'm sure he'll bounce back from this. Like I said, hip hop doesn't care if you're homophobic. It doesn't. People are getting more attuned and learning, but people are still staying in the past. And if you don't get with the future, you get left in the past. So I mean, hopefully he at least learns as far as the HIV and AIDS thing, because his information was so outdated, like it was the 90s. But y'all let me know what y'all think down below. And I will get back to y'all on the next podcast episode of Let Me Relax. Y'all also go check out Sad Shit and just be on the lookout for more content. Peace.